Okay, in this video I'm going to just do a bunch of word problems that are related to the topic of proportions. Some of them are pretty much directly from the homework, and then I'm going to make up a couple. One of my favorite types of problems are problems that have a map, and they'll have a key on the map where they say something like 1.5 inches equals 40 miles. Something like that, right? You've seen a map like that, hopefully. I know I have. Back in the day when there weren't smartphones, people looked at maps to drive places. So let's say you have a map and it says that every 1.5 inch is 40 miles. And you look at your map, and where you are on the map and where you want to go, like you're going from one city to another city, well, those two cities on the map are 5 inches apart. How far is that in real miles? So I'll write if two cities, they don't have to be cities obviously, but two cities are 5 inches apart on a map, how far are the cities from each other? IRL in real life. Alright, so yeah, if you have a map that has a key that every 1.5 inches is 40 miles, how far apart in real life are two cities that are 5 inches apart on the map? Well, I don't know if you remember my yogurt problem I did earlier, but what you do is you write a fraction or a proportion. Proportion just really means you're writing down two fractions with an equal sign in between them and then trying to figure out what numbers go where. What you do, since 1.5 is a decimal, this is 1.5. 1.5 and 40 go together, so you put them on the same side. Okay. Then you make sure you put corresponding things over here. Well, we know on the map our two cities are 5 inches apart. So notice that this is the inches part, right? 1.5 inches is 40 miles. So on our map, our two cities are 5 inches apart, so the inches goes on top. And what we're trying to figure out is how many miles apart they are from each other. We don't know that, so you use an X. Now we cross multiply, so we get 1.5x equals 200. So now we divide by 1.5. You get x equals whatever 200 divided by 1.5. What is it? I don't know. Clear. 200 divided by 1.5. 133. Point 3 repeating. So I like when something has a repeating decimal, I like to write it maybe just 133 1/3. So the two cities that are 5 inches apart on the map are really 133 1/3 miles away. Okay, we're going to do another problem now. I didn't estimate for that one. You could have paused the video before I figured it out. Then estimated it, solved it, then when I got my answer, you could have said, yeah, I got it right. You can do that in the next problem if you want. If you didn't, just do it. So I like those types of problems, the math problems. It's a real, now that we have math questions and things like that, people don't really do it that much, but it used to be one of the probably most common types of problems that you'd use a proportion for, I guess. Alright, 5 out of 8 dentists, you all see these commercials on TV. Five out of 8 dentists recommend Aquafresh. I'm not going to spell recommend. PM. Okay, that's a brand name. Okay, so 5 out of every 8 dentists recommend Aquafresh. This isn't, I'm just making this up, okay? I don't really know if 5 out of 8 dentists recommend Aquafresh. I think the commercial actually said that 8 out of 10 did, but I don't remember. So 5 out of 8 dentists recommend Aquafresh. Let's say you talk, let's say you know, this is going to be a strange problem. Let's say you know 224 dentists. So you know for I don't want to call it a fact, you know that you've seen a commercial on TV maybe that tells you that 5 out of every 8 dentists recommend Aquafresh. And you just happen to know 224 dentists. I don't know how you know that many dentists. You must have really bad teeth. Or maybe you have really good teeth, I don't know. How many of the dentists you know probably would recommend Aquafresh? So if 5 out of every 8 dentists recommend Aquafresh, and you know 224 dentists, how many of those probably recommend, of the dentists you know, how many of them probably recommend Aquafresh? Well, I'm going to estimate this answer. So, 5 out of every 8 recommend it. 8's about 30 times less than, not less than, I want to say, 224 is about 30 times more than 8. So it's probably around 30 times that. So it's probably around 150. So my estimate is 150. Okay. This estimate, like I said, is just to make sure that if you make a error somewhere in the problem, maybe punch in, double key something on your calculator if you're using a calculator and aren't paying attention, that you know if you get the wrong answer, you know if your answer that you get isn't close to your estimate, that you probably made an error. So 5 dentists recommend out of 8 total dentists. How many would recommend out of 224? So this is only the third problem in the last 2 videos that I've done that's a proportion. This is the first time that the x was in the numerator, so it's a little bit different, sort of. Basically the same, really. So 5 would recommend out of 8 total. How many would recommend out of 224 total? So cross multiply. I'm going to try to do this in my head. I think it's 1, 1, 2, 0. Sounds about right. So we have to divide each side by 8 to get x by itself. Ooh, 1120. Divisibility rules. Let's see. If the last 3 digits of a number are divisible by 8, the whole number is. Is 120 divisible by 8? It is. 15. 120 divided by 8 is 15. That means 1,120 divisible by 8. So I know this is going to give me a whole number. I don't want to do it in my head though. $140. So my estimate was actually pretty good. So I think I didn't make any mistakes. I think I punched everything into my calculator right. So if you know 224 dentists, if for some reason you know 224 dentists, 140 of them would recommend Aquafresh based on the statistics. Okay, so let's maybe do one more problem. And then that might be a day for proportions. I saw a problem like this in the homework because it's always intrigued me. It's about how fast somebody can read. Because I knew people, oh my God, in high school. You're probably wondering, how could you remember that far back? But I actually remember one of the girls I liked in high school. I need a wet wipe to disinfect my hands. When she was, I think it was in like 7th grade, she took the book, The Stand out of, signed it out of the library. And I think she said she read it like in a day and a half. Now that book, I think the unabridged version is over 1,000 pages long. So, I don't know if she really did read it in a day and a half. This was like when she was in 7th grade. So I've always been intrigued by how fast people can read. I've read a couple of I've read The Stand, I think, both the abridged and unabridged versions. And I've read a couple books by James Michener that were pretty long. One of them I read when I was in 6th grade. It was called Space. And I think that book was like in between 800 and 900 pages long. But it took me, I didn't read it in a day and a half, I know that. So I've always been intrigued by how fast people can read. And one of the homework problems has something about that. So basically it says if you can read a certain amount of pages in a certain amount of minutes, how long would it take you to read a book that has a certain amount of pages? So I'm going to just make up some numbers. So if you can read, I'm going to try to maybe make up numbers that would make sense for me. If I like a book, it probably takes me, even if I like a book, it probably takes me at least 2 minutes to read a page. So let's say 2.5 minutes. So if I can read 10 pages, 25 minutes. Remember I said that, if I like a book, it probably takes me around 2.5 minutes to read a page. Well, that would mean that I could read 10 pages in 25 minutes. If I can read 10 pages in 25 minutes of a book, really the of a book should be in here. I know this is an English class, but I don't like when I word something wrong. If I can read 10 pages of a book in 25 minutes, and that book is, I'm going to write how many pages the book is. Let's see. I don't actually read much anymore because I can't see very well. I hate wearing my glasses all the time, and I can't read without my glasses on. So I usually don't even read. Like, I don't take a book out or buy a book or download a book on Kindle or do that. Actually, I do. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I do that, but then I don't read it. The last several books I've sent out from the library I haven't read. I've only downloaded one book on Kindle, and I've read maybe a little bit of this book. Just don't read much anymore. But if I did read, I think a good length of a book might be about 450 pages. Probably, if you look back when I used to read a lot, probably that would be like a normal size novel. If I can read 10 pages of a book in 25 minutes, and that book is 450 pages long, I don't really know if you need that right there. How long will it take me? Take me to read the book. Now, I'm going to throw in some extra stuff here maybe. Well, we'll see what we get as an answer. But sometimes they'll ask you like to put your answer in a certain, what do you call it? I don't want to say quantity. They might ask you to put it in a certain, what's the word I'm looking for? Somebody help me. Like they might ask you like how many hours will it take you to read the book? Like, so I say I can read 10 pages in 25 minutes. So you think the answer would be in minutes, right? Well, they could actually say in hours. Well, let's see what we get. We're gonna maybe state the answer a couple different ways. So if I can read 10 pages in 25 minutes, and that book is 450 pages long, how long will it take me to read the book? Well, once again, you're making a proportion. Two fractions, equal sign in between them. You're going to write one of the fractions, because you're always going to probably, I don't want to say probably even, you're going to have three of the four numbers. You know, there's going to be four numbers. You're going to know three of them. Okay? You're trying to figure out what the fourth one is. So you're going to put things that go together on the same side. So I can read 10 pages. You can label it if you want. Like, I haven't been doing that, but I'll do it here. 10 pages in 25 minutes. You don't really need to label it, but it could help you when you're trying to figure out what to write over here. Well, all we know about the book is it's 450 pages. So I put the pages on top because pages on top over here. I don't know how long it's going to take me in minutes. Okay, so we're going to cross multiply 25 times 450. Glad I have a calculator that can do this. I brought my calculator, but, or I should say phone that can do this. I did bring my calculator, but I don't want to bring it out. 11,250. Well, when you divide by 10, I can do this in my head because dividing by 10, you just get rid of that 0, so. Now, this is in minutes. So the answer is that it will take me 1,125 minutes. Well, what if they'd asked you, how long will it take me to read the book? And they want the answer in hours. How would you do that? Because they can do that. They can tell you it takes you 25 minutes to read 10 pages, but then ask for the answer in hours. How would you do that? Pause the video if you want. How would you do that? I'm about to show you. Okay, so you've unpaused the video now. I know it's going to take me this long to read the book in minutes. Well, there's 60 minutes in an hour. So, let's see. Let's see what I want to do here. I want to actually set it up right. I was going to say just divide by 60 because that will give you the hours. But there's a way to set it up, but I'm going to just divide by 60. So you have 1,125 minutes, and there's 60 minutes in an hour. I guess here's what I mean by how to set it up. Okay. All we have over here is minutes, right? This thing down here has no label. Over here, we have 1 hour is the same as 60 minutes. This doesn't have a label because we're just writing 1,125 over 1 because we want to write it as a fraction. And you can take any whole number and write it over 1. Like 4 could be written 4 over 1. So the reason that you do this like this, I shouldn't have the equal between them. I want to go like this. Right. So the minutes cancel out and we're left with that's why, now hopefully I didn't just confuse people, but that's why you can just divide 1125 by 60 and it gives you hours. Notice our only label left is hour. So, and the reason why I did times 1 over 60 is because dividing by 60 is the same as multiplying by 1 over 60. So 1 hour is 60 minutes. So if you divide 1125 by 60, punched in the wrong code to unlock my phone. 18.75. Okay. So 18.75 hours. Okay, well, great. But what if it's not normal to say 18.75 hours? Usually you would say like if something took an hour and a half, you would say 18 hours and 30 minutes. You might say that. You'd probably say, in that example, you probably would say an hour and a half, or 18 hours and a half. But who says 0.75 hours? Not too many people. Well, how many minutes are in 0.75 hours? Well, 0.75 is the same as 3 over 4. Oh, so we get to do another proportion. 3 over 4 is 1 over 60. What goes here? Cross multiply, you get 180 equals 4 times something. Well, that something would be 45. So this would be 18 hours, 45 minutes. So you could just, if they didn't care how you put the answer, you could just say 1,125 minutes. But it's more normal to actually give your answer like this. So if I could read 10 pages in 25 minutes, and the book was 450 pages long, it would take me 18 hours and 45 minutes to read the whole book. I should have estimated the answer there because without any other knowledge, to me that seems like a long time. But so this is 45, 450 is 45 times more than that. So 45 times this is almost a half an hour. So 45 times a half an hour would be 22.5 hours, which is kind of close to that. So yeah, this is the correct answer. So yeah, when you're doing word problems, which reminds me, I wanted to tell you this too. When you're doing the homework, I know it's the homework's online now. Might seem easy just to like guess. You should actually be doing the work, written work, and then once you get the answer, enter it into the online. So if you have problems, just let me know. But this should have helped you greatly with the homework that I just assigned.